seems like every year when the heat kicks in, we start to have the same problems with iron deficiency or iron chlorosis here in Cache Valley. And it's a pretty common problem, and it's one that we almost have to address every year. But there's a couple different signs that you should really watch for that are telltale giveaways that you've got some iron deficiency going on with your plants. Here's a couple samples. This is a strawberry plant. That's what a normal healthy leaf should look like. And as they're starting to show some iron deficiency, that's what the leaves will start to look like. If you can see, the veins are a little bit darker and prominent. They stand out a little bit more, and the margins of the leaf have started to change a lighter color. And iron deficiency or chlorosis will show up in the newest growth first. So they're always going to show up in the newest leaves that have just come out on whatever plant it is, whether it's a tree or whether it's a shrub or strawberry. It's always going to show up in that new growth that's come out first, and then gradually work its way into the older growth. And the color on the leaves can be quite dramatic. I mean, so they can go from this nice dark green to even much lighter than this, with the veins really prominently standing out. So strawberries are really affected by iron deficiency, but so are roses. And generally, like I said, it'll happen on the newest growth first. And this isn't too iron deficient. It's not too bad of a sample, but should be this nice dark green glossy color. And as that new growth comes out, it's a much lighter color, and those veins are starting to stick out a little bit more. And it can be very prominent in roses. We see a lot in burning bush, especially in raspberries, and there's a lot of trees that are very susceptible to it, especially a lot of the maples. Silver maples are the one that I usually see tons and tons of samples of. So we really start to see the iron deficiency in the middle of summer, and it's something that we need to correct, or else as the leaves become more yellow and we get that wind and that hot dry summer heat, the leaves will really start to turn brown and crispy along the edges. So instead of being kind of a yellow color around the margins like this, you'll start to see some brown crispiness showing up around the edges of the leaves, and that's very common. We'll see that summer scorch happening on trees or shrubs or any kind of plant that's really iron deficient, and we'll see that quite commonly. So what are we going to do to correct the problem? We've got some very good natural forms of iron, like this copperas. This is iron sulfate. So ferrous sulfate is a great way to control iron deficiency, but it's kind of slow. So this is one that I usually recommend that you put on in the fall or very early in the spring, because it does take some time for that to really start to work and do its job. So that the iron chlorosis, the copperas will do a really good job to fix that, but it's kind of slow. So if you want to go to something with a little bit more speed or a little more quick to fix the problem, we've got some chelated varieties of iron that will work very quickly and show up in a very short amount of time. You'll start to really see the chlorosis correct itself. The EDDHA, this one right here, is probably the fastest one that I've got, and it works quicker than anything else, and it also works in a soil pH that's much higher than anything else. So depending on what your soil type is like, the iron chelate will really correct a problem in a very short amount of time, and it works in a soil pH up above 8, where the copperas, the iron sulfate, really won't work in soil conditions that are that alkaline. This is probably the only product that will work if you're applying it to the soil. Now the powdered chelated iron, you can either mix it up in water the plants with it, or you can sprinkle it on the ground around the plants and then water it and allow it to pick it up through the root system. And in many cases you'll see a difference in a week or even less with the EDDHA iron. So it works very quickly, and it works no matter what your soil type or your soil pH is. It'll just continue to work. A little bit less expensive is this 10% organic iron chelate, which also works very quickly. Takes a little bit longer, probably about 2 weeks, maybe 3 to really show a big difference, but much less expensive, and does a very good job. But it will only work up in a soil pH to about 7.5, possibly up to 8, where the EDDHA, the one that I just showed you, will work no matter what your pH is. So this will work for most people in Cache Valley, but if you really have some alkaline soil, some really high pH, this might not work as well for you as well. Last, we've got a liquid iron, our combo chelate from Bicor. Now the combo chelate you mix up in water and you spray it on the plants, and so it's absorbed in through the leaves. You can also water the plants with it, allow them to pick it up through the root system. Usually the combo chelate works very quickly. Generally you can do an application once a week for maybe 2 or 3 applications and have that iron deficiency problem corrected in just a short amount of time. But if you're doing it on the leaves through the foliage, it's probably not going to last as long as a soil application would, so we definitely recommend that you do a little bit of both. But the iron combo chelate from Bicor is made locally. It's made right here in Cache Valley, and it's been an excellent product for, you know, all kinds of plants. You can use it on flowers, you can use it on shrubs, you can use it on strawberries or roses, and even works well on some smaller trees. We've had great results with the combo chelate. So we've got a lot of different options. Definitely some slow release ones in the copperous, some much quicker ones in the chelated irons, but whichever one that you use, if you use them properly, they can correct an iron deficiency and get your plants to go from yellow back to their natural green color.